Hi guys, welcome to part 2 of the Amazon Price Tracker with Django and Beautiful Soup tutorial series. Last time we were able to create a solution for scraping Amazon products from their website, but in this one we are going to practice the basics of Beautiful Soup so you can later use this knowledge in your own projects. And once we do that, we will set up our Django project and finish part 2. Part 3 and 4 will be dedicated to Django and only Django. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started. Alright guys, so for the practice section of this tutorial, we will need this HTML file, which you can find in the description to this video or in the comment pinned to this video. So this HTML file basically gives us this result in the browser. So we have in the top left corner, Hello World, and we have movies. And here are some cards with Interstellar, Zombieland, and Supernatural. Okay, Supernatural is more like a TV series, but for this project purposes, this doesn't matter. So let's return to our PyCharm and let's create a new file. So we have main.py, and this is the file that we created in the previous part of this tutorial series. And then we have index.html. This is the file that you will download or you downloaded already. And we will have a new one, and this is going to be a Python file, and I'm going to call it practice. Alright, so what we need to do is to import Beautiful Soup. So from BS4, we want to import Beautiful Soup, and let's also bring in our LXML parser. So we will be using the same parser as in the previous video. Okay, so now we need to open up our index.html with the use of context manager. So I'm going to write down with open, and then I'm going to write down the file itself. So we want to open index.html in read mode, and then as file, and I'm going to create a variable called body, and this is going to be file read. Okay, and you can do it like this, but sometimes in Python, you'll need to provide the full path. So I just want to show you very quickly how to do it, and we will do it with the use of OS module. So I'm going to import it, and then I'm going to create a variable called path, which is going to be OS, and then we will use the getCwd method. And this getCwd stands for get current working directory. Okay, so below we are going to print out the path, and then we are going to join the path with the index.html. So in a second we will see the output in the terminal. So before we do that, let's create another variable called html, and this is going to be os path join, and we want to pass in our path and the index HTML. All right, so now we can print HTML as well. So let's run this. Run, and we want to run practice. And this is the path. Okay, so AZ price tracker. So this is our current working directory, and this one is the full path to the index.html. So in the AZ price tracker directory, we have index.html, and this is basically the full path. So we can also use the HTML right now. I'm going to grab the with open index.html rs file, and then the body is equal to file read, and I'm going to paste it below. And here, the one change that we need to do is to provide HTML, and this will work as well, and we will find out that I'm not lying very soon. So as the next step, we need to create our Beautiful Soup instance. I'm going to write down soup is equal to Beautiful Soup that we already imported, and we are going to pass in the body as well as our LXML parser. So right now I'm going to print out soup, but also I'm going to put in some dashes, and below I'm going to print out the soup with the prettify method so we can compare these two. And let's run the code beginning from the top. here are our path and HTML, but then we have the soup. So this is HTML code that looks like this. It's a little bit difficult to read because there are no indentations. We can't see how the code is nested. It's just difficult to figure out the structure of this code. But then with the use of Prettify, we have it nicely organized, okay? So as you can see here, this is much more readable, and this is why I recommend to use Soup with the Prettify method. So let's just do some organization stuff over here. I'm going to delete the dash, and I'm going to comment out soup. And also I'm going to, okay, so right now we were working with this. So I'm going to comment out the import OS with the path and so on. And we will check if this is working. So let's run the code again. And there it is. So as the first step, let's try to grab the title. As you can see over here, we have a tag title and we have hello world. So below, I'm going to write a comment, get the title, and this is going to be pretty easy. We just need to create a variable title where we will store soup.title. And then we can print out the title, but also let's print out title name and title get text, and let's compare these three. So here are the results. This is the title itself, then we have the title name, and this is just the title, so this is the name of the tag, and then we have hello world, so this is what is inside those blocks, those title blocks, okay? So, okay, our first task is accomplished. Let's grab maybe the paragraph. So over here we have hello world, and let's grab it. So I'm going to write another comment, get paragraph, and I'm going to create a variable paragraph is equal to soup p, and let's print the paragraph. So I'm just going to copy paragraph and paste it over here. Let's run the code. Here is the paragraph. So in order to get the name of the tag, we need to grab the paragraph name, and if we would like to get the content of the paragraph, we simply need to use this get text method. So I'm just going to copy this, paste it below, and then I'm going to change the title variable to paragraph. And let's see what happens. And there it is. So we have hello world in the p blocks, in the p tags, and then we have the name of the tag, and then we have what is inside. So inside is hello world without the exclamation mark, starting with a lowercase letter. The next challenge will be to get the first div. So I'm going to write another comment, get the first div, and we will get it with the find method, okay? So let me create a variable called first div, and this is going to be soup find. We need to pass in what we are looking for, so we are looking for the div, okay? And let's just print the first div like this, and let's see what happens. As you can see, we have a pretty big div because we have the div class container, which is our first div. So if we take a look at our code, over here we have the body, then we have the paragraph, and then we have this very big div class container, and this is what we are getting over here. So this entire div is returned because this is in fact the first div, all right? So if we would like to get the text, what text is inside this first div. I'm just going to copy it, copy the print, paste it, and I'm going to use the get text method, and I'm going to run it, and there it is. So we have movies, Interstellar, Zombieland, Supernatural. So we don't see the hello world that is in the left top corner, because in fact the hello world is outside of this container div. Okay, so the hello world is over here. All right, so let's continue. Let's grab all the divs. So I'm going to write a comment below, get all the divs, and I'm going to create a variable all divs, and we will use find all method this time. So soup find all, and we are searching for div, and let's print all divs. All right, I'm going to run it, and if we look carefully, here is a list of all the divs. It begins over here and it ends over here. Here we have all the divs. So this is the div with the class container. Then we have, it actually finishes over here. So maybe let's do it a little bit differently. Let's loop through all the divs and let's see what is inside. So I'm going to comment this out, and let's create a for loop for div in all divs. Let's print some dashes and then print the div itself. Okay, so let's see what this will give us. And here is the first div. So this is the div with a class container. And then we have, if we take a look at the title box, the div with the ID title box, which is over here. So this is the next div. Then we have the div with the ID movie box, and this is the one over here. And then we have the movies themselves. So we have Interstellar. So this is the one over here. And then we have Zombieland, and this is the one over here. And then we have Supernatural, and this is the one over here. So now let's grab the first movie. Let's grab Interstellar. So I'm going to write a comment, get the first movie. And if we look carefully, all of these movies have a class movie, okay? So we need to specify also the class, not only the div. And how can we do this? Let's create a variable called first movie, and this is going to be soup find, and we are going to specify that we are looking for a div with a class, and we have to write it like this because class is a special word in Python. So here we are specifying the class is equal to movie. All right, and let's print first movie, and print first movie get text. And let's run the code. And here is Interstellar and Interstellar, okay? So actually we can comment this out and comment this out as well, and let's run it again, and here it is more readable. Okay, so we have this div with Interstellar, and then with the use of get text method we are getting the Interstellar text itself. So as the next step, let's actually do this in a different way. So I'm going to comment it out. Maybe I'm just going to comment the first movie, because I'm going to rewrite it with a little bit different approach. So I'm going to write down first movie is equal to soup, and this time I'm going to use the select method. And if we would be using an ID, we would use probably select one, but we are going to use it with a class, so with the class movie, which is in all available in all of these movies. So we have movie over here, and movie over here. So this is why we are going to use select and not select one, and inside we just need to pass in the particular class. So if we would pass in ID, we would begin with a hash, but we want to pass in a class, so we need to put in a dot and then the class itself, which is movie. All right, and let's see if we will get the same results. Let's run it, and we have some errors because what is this soup select? Let's take a look. This is basically it, and as you can see, this is a list. So select returns always a list, and in order to get the first movie, we need to grab the first element. So let's run it one more time, and as you can see, this time there is no error. So what's worth remembering is that select returns always a list. Okay, so as the next step, let's grab all the movies. Okay, so I'm going to write a comment, get all movies, and I'm going to create a variable, all movies, and this is going to be soup, and we will use find all again, and we are going to put in the div because we are searching for the div, and we are also going to specify the class to be set to movie, and this is how we can get all the movies. All right, so let's check it out. So I'm going to print all movies. Let's run it. And here we have an empty list. So let's take a look at what did we do wrong. So here's all the movies and soup find all div class is equal to movie. Okay, so if we take a look at this line over here, let's bring it back in. We have first movie is equal to soup find div, and then we have this class, and we are passing the movie. We are setting the class to be equal movie, but we are not using a dot, and this is the correct approach. Over here with the select, we are indicating with the dot that we are dealing with a class. If we would be dealing with an ID, we would use a hash. Okay, so this is okay for the select. However, if we are indicating directly that the class is equal to, we don't use the dot. So this is the mistake that I made, and if I run it again, everything should be okay, and as in fact it is. So here we have a list of all the divs with the movies, and yeah, to make it look a little bit more nicely and more readable, we can of course loop through it. So for movie in all movies, let's print some signs and let's print the movie. Let's run the code, and there it is. So we have Interstellar, we have Zombieland, and we have Supernatural. And then if we would like to grab the movie itself, so the text inside the div, we have to use, of course, the getText method. Okay, so let's do it one more time, and there it is. So Interstellar, Zombieland, and Supernatural. Perfect. Okay, so let's do it also with a different approach. Let's do it with the select. So I'm going to comment this out, and I'm going to create again all movies variable, and I'm going to set it to soup and then select, and here we need to pass in the movie. Okay, so we can do it like this, or we can write down selector is equal to movie, and this will do the trick. We will get the same results. Okay, so let's try it out, and as you can see, everything is working as well. All right, so as the next step, what we want to do is to get all the links, because if we scroll a little bit higher, here we are in the movie box, and here we have our divs with a movie wrapped with a link. We have an href. So what we want to do next is to grab the links to EMDB site, so we can actually see this movie. All right, so below I'm going to write a comment, get all the links. All right, so let's set a variable called links, and this is going to be soup, and we are going to use the find all method, and this time we are not going to pass a div but an a. All right, and then what we need to do is to, of course, write down a for loop. So for link in links, let's print the link. Let's print the link get text. And for now, let's leave it as it is. We will have to actually write another line of code to get the result that we wanted to get. But for now, let's leave it like this, and let's see what are the results. So as you can see, here is the link, which is this tag over here, the entire tag containing also the div, and the get text is interstellar, because this is the only text available in this block. And the same thing is for Zombieland and for Supernatural. So we didn't actually get the links themselves. We just want to get over here in this particular task, in this particular challenge, only the links. So how to do this? Let's write print and then link get, and let's write down href. And let's see what this will give us. And as you can see, this gives us the link. So let me do it one more time. I'm just going to comment out the link and link get text. And this is the way how to get the links that lead to a particular site. So this is another challenge completed. So let's also get something by ID. So let me write a comment, get element by ID, and we have a movie box. So if we scroll to the top, in the container we have a movie box. Okay, so let's grab this movie box. So in order to do that, I'm going to create another variable called movie box, for example, and this is going to be soup. And this time I'm going to use select one method because we want to get it by the ID. And as mentioned before, we will use, in this case, a hash, and then we need to pass in the ID. So the ID is movie box. And then what we want to do is to simply print the movie box and the movie box get text. And let's check out the results. Okay, so this is the movie box, this div over here, containing all the links and the divs with the movies. And then if we write the get text, we just get the names of the movies. All right, so now that we have this movie box, let's think about the parents and the children of this movie box. So I'm going to write a comment, parent, children, and let's create a variable called parent, and this is going to be moviebox.parent. And let's see what this will give us. Print parent. And there it is. So the parent of the movie box is the container. Inside of the container, we also have a title box. And for the title box, the parent is also the container. So over here, we returned the div class container because, yeah, this is the parent of our movie box, okay? So this is for the parent. And if we write down children, we can write down movie box children, and let's print the children. And here we have list iterator object. So basically, let's do a for loop to see the children. For child in children, let's print each child, okay? Let's run it. And here are the children, okay? So this is the parent, the div class container. It finishes over here, and then we have the children. So inside of the movie box, we have the links, and then inside the links, we have the div, and inside the div, we have the name of the movie itself. And yeah, this is how it's done. Let's also talk about the find parent method. And in order to do that, I'm going to set a variable movie, and this is going to be soup find, and I'm going to pass in the div, and I'm going to specify the class and just set it to movie. Then I'm going to write a parent variable, and this time I'm going to set it to movie, not movie box, but movie, and find parent over here, okay? And then I'm also going to print out the parent, but below I'm going to write down parent is equal to movie find parent, and I'm going to specify that I'm searching for a div, okay? So let's see what are going to be the results. Let's compare these two. So I'm going to put in print parent, and let's run this code. All right, so maybe let's also do some prints so we can see precisely what is going on. So over here, I'm going to print some dashes, and once this is done, we are going to print this over here. Okay, let's run it one more time, and there it is. So here we have the result for this parent, and let's take a look at exactly what we are looking. We are looking for the first movie because we've done this method, and we know that this is gonna give us the first movie, and this is Interstellar, and we are looking for a parent. And in this case, our parent is A, okay? Because the class is over here. So we are looking for a parent of this div. So the parent of this div is this block over here. But then below, we have a situation where we are looking for a parent that is specified to be a div. And then we are skipping the A because we are looking for the next div. And the next div in this case is the movie box. And this is what we have as a result. So hopefully this is understandable. To make sure it is, let's do one more example and we will finish off the practice part. So I'm going to create a variable called Interstellar, and this is going to be soup, and we want to find it this time by the text. So I'm going to write down Interstellar, all right? And I'm going to copy this pretty complicated for a foreign guy name, and I'm going to write down print interstellar. Let's see, what do we have over here? And we have interstellar. Okay, so we have the text itself, interstellar. So in order to practice the find parent, let's do some more printouts. So I'm going to copy this, and we are going to apply find parent on this interstellar variable, and we are going to put in over here a div, and below we are going to put in a. So let's check out the results. So this is the interstellar, this is the result from over here, and then we have find parent div. So this is the parent of this interstellar. If we would copy this and paste it over here, let me copy this properly, and we won't specify what we are looking for. This will give us the first parent, which is in fact this div. So these two should be the same. Let's run it to find out, and in fact here are the results. So here this gives us the first div, and this one gives us the first parent. So those two are the same. But then if we take a look at this line, we are looking for the first parent with the a tag, and this is this one. Okay, so hopefully this is understandable. These were the basics of Beautiful Soup. I hope you guys enjoyed them, and right now let's proceed and set up our Django project. So what I'm going to do is to head over to the terminal, and over here I'm going to write down pip freeze, and here are the modules that we have installed in the previous video. So for example, we have LXML, we have requests, we have BS4, and let's grab all these modules and put it in a file, and then we will, once we have a virtual environment created, we will install these dependencies from this particular text file. So in order to do this, I'm going to write down pip freeze, and then requirements txt. All right, and then as you can see, here is our requirements txt file. So let me make this a little bit bigger, and now we can open up a terminal to set up a Django project. So I'm going to head over to the desktop, and I'm going to create a virtual NV over here called AZ tracker, and I'm going to specify that I want to use for this project the Python with the version of 3.8, Python 3.8. I'm going to press enter, and yeah, I created a virtual environment. So right now what I'm going to do is to open up this AZ tracker, and from this AZ price tracker, which is a virtual environment created by PyCharm, I'm just going to move the requirements txt file, and I'm going to put in pip install. First of all, we need to activate our virtual environment. So source bin activate. Of course, we need to access it first. So cd az tracker source bin activate, and then over here let's install all the dependencies from these requirements txt file. So pip install r requirements txt. And yeah, I made a typo, requirements. I think I missed an E letter. Sorry about this, guys. Let me do it one more time. Pip install r requirements txt. Let's hope that this time it will work. And as you can see, we are installing all the dependencies from the requirements txt file. So as the next step, I'm going to install Django, pip install Django. And then let's create our Django project. So Django admin start project. Let's call it AZ proj. And here it is. Let's rename this to source because inside we have an AZ proj folder as well. So to avoid the confusion, let's name this one to src. So we can do it in the terminal, mv az proj. Let's rename it to src. Enter, and there is src. So let's access this src directory. Over here, if we list out the elements, we have manage py file, which helps us to manage all the administrative tasks. And let's use it. So first of all, I'm going to run the migration. So Python manage py migrate. Okay, and then Python manage py create super user. So I'm going to leave it as my name, first name and last name, and then I'm going to set the password. All right, and finally, let's start an application. I'm going to call it links. So Python manage py start app links. And inside the src directory is our links application. So let's open up the code editor. And yeah, this is it. So we will begin in the next part from the settings py file, and then we will jump into links to the models py file, and probably we will do some other things as well. There's actually quite a lot of things to do in this project, but hopefully we will close it within the next 2 parts. Alright guys, so thank you for being with me in this video. Hope to see you soon in the next part or in the next video that I will release on the channel. Have a great day, take care, and bye-bye.